I just now finished up the 5-star soul event for Mithrala. I rebuilt her from previous regeneration build to now a set and build that's much better, I believe. I want to hear from you guys. Where do you plan on using her, number one? And number two, how much resistance does your Mithrala have? If it's higher than mine, let me know if she's empowered so I don't feel as bad. But my Mithrala is currently sitting at 646 accuracy plus 533 resistance. So 646 plus 533, she's looking at 1,179 total resistance currently. So that is with the 5-star soul equipped. So she should be resisting pretty well, even with a champion, say 700 accuracy times 0.5, 350. So basically, if a champion with 700 accuracy was running with an increased accuracy champion, that would put him at a 1,050 accuracy, and my Mithrala should still resist those champions. So she's in a pretty good spot right now. So before I get started, there should be some timestamps down below for the build, the blessings, the masteries, and the area showcases. If you want to see something, just jump to that area in the video. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy. So the stats you want for her, you want to have good HP. Her A3 ability scales the shield off of her HP. So you want to push her HP to a pretty good level. So we got that good. HP, I'd say 50,000 plus is pretty solid. For defense, you're going to want to go for 3,200 plus. The increased defense is going to bring you to a very good amount. But if you can get more defense, great. But HP and defense, you really want to make sure those are in a good spot. If she dies quick, well, she's not going to do her purpose and actually serve any role in the team. And then we have speed. Speed is going to be very, very important for her. Mine's built pretty fast because the areas I plan on using her, I want her to go before my nukers, who are also built pretty quick. Take a look at Rhonda. She's actually 247 slower of the champions I'm going to be using with her. I actually need to rebuild my Rotos because I may use him with her as well. He's 289. So right now she's a little bit quicker than him, but I have various different damage dealers who are pretty fast. So I just want to make sure that she's going to be going faster than those champions. That's going to be different for you. Maybe you need slower, maybe you need a faster Mithrala. But my Mithrala is 283. I'm going to glyph up a little bit more speed eventually, but for now, this is fine. And then we move down to the accuracy and resistance. If you're somebody who wants to do high-level PvP, I'd say anything above, say, Gold 2, Gold 3 Live Arena is where more resistance is going to be very beneficial. But if you're doing mostly PvE content, you don't need that much resistance. Like if you have 500 accuracy, it's going to convert over to about 500 resistance as well. You're going to have plenty of resistance for basically everywhere. Honestly, other than like Bommel, I don't know where you would need even more than that. And she's probably not going to be used on Bommel. So for Hydra, for Spider, for Dragon, for Iron Twins, you're not going to need insane, crazy stats. Those are required for PvP content. So we have the stats talked about. I want to show you the specific pieces of gear and what I looked for when going through these. Every piece, I would like to have accuracy plus resistance on. Even if you have, say, a triple roll resistance or even a quad roll resistance versus a double roll accuracy plus a double roll resistance, the double roll accuracy plus the double roll resistance, or even a single roll accuracy, double roll resistance is probably going to be better than the quad roll resistance. The reason for that is this piece of gear has 2 slots for glyphs with accuracy plus resistance. So I got 22 extra resistance essentially and an extra 10 accuracy from just the glyphs here. Whereas this piece, I only got 1 slot. I don't have the resistance slot. I only have the accuracy slot. So whenever possible, try to get accuracy plus resistance on a piece. So this is her helmet. Obviously, I prioritize the speed there. I very much needed that. Let's actually go for +8. Can we get, oh no, good old +4. But let's go to the next piece. So we have this feral piece, double roll resistance, single roll accuracy. We have gloves. I'm prioritizing HP and defense percentage, but I did want accuracy and resistance. Didn't have resistance, unfortunately. Crit rate, not great. So there's some things we could change, but this piece fit, gave me more survivability, which is really what I'm wanting. And then her chest plate could be improved significantly. We could have more rolls into accuracy, more rolls into speed, HP or defense percentage rolls here, all kinds of stuff. But we have the resistance chest plate, though accuracy would be better because it's going to feed back into resistance anyways. But this is fine. It's the best I had currently. And then our boots, speed on speed, well, the ascension speed. And then we have resistance rolls with some accuracy. So this is a pretty good pair of boots. Now, when you're looking at these pieces, not only do you want to take into consideration the stats on the actual piece, but you want to be mindful of the sets. So in this case, I have Stone Skin plus Feral. I'll talk about that more in just a moment, but almost as important, or a good way to kind of cheese out some more stats, are sets like Merciless, sets like Protection. These sets, actually not Merciless, Supersonic, plus 20 resistance. Merciless doesn't give anything like that. Merciless gives 10% attack, so we're not worried about that here. But Supersonic, extra 20 resistance. Protection is going to give an extra 20 resistance. So these sets with just one piece, whether it's one banner, one accessory, one artifact, will give you a little bit extra resistance. If it's a piece of feral gear, it's going to give you an extra 40 accuracy. So these pieces can help you push your stats a little bit higher for her. So with her accessories, we have a not great ring. It's okay, but it's definitely not great. We have a necklace that'd be so much better if it had accuracy plus resistance, more rolls in accuracy. All kinds of things could improve this, but it's the set that I needed to match 4-piece feral with 4-piece stone skin. And then for her banner, we have accuracy with resistance. This would be better with accuracy, but I don't feel like wasting the resources to reset that. And then we have some speed rolls. Now, with the sets, I used regeneration before. It was a great set to solo duo some areas of the game. But this set, this combination, I believe is just the best in the game. So this is Stone Skin plus Feral. Essentially what we have going on is a Stone Skin buff protecting us from being nuked, and then the block debuffs protecting any debuffs whatsoever from being placed. Stone Skin protects most of them. Her high accuracy protects most of them. Or sorry, her high resistance protects most of them. However, if a debuff, like a bomb, can't be resisted, or an HP burn from Gizmak can't be resisted, then Stone Skin's irrelevant and high resistance is irrelevant. But a block debuffs is not irrelevant. So bringing the block debuff plus Stone Skin now allows her to not so easily be nuked, allows her to prevent bombs and HP burns from being placed. So if you plan on using her in PvP, I think this setup is just by far the best. Gizmak, Astrolith are two champions I can think of right now who both place bombs or HP burns that can't be resisted. So Furion can activate those burns and your Stone Skin's gone like that. But if you have the block debuffs from Feral, from Untouchable, from Immunity, anything like that, you're going to be fine. So we're not going to talk about her skills, but I do want to talk about her blessing. One blessing that I see recommended a ton is Polymorph. Personally, I think it's a terrible idea. So Polymorph essentially works by if somebody places a debuff on you, if somebody places a debuff on Mithrala, they have a chance of being polymorphed. Well, guess what? Mithrala is built to not get any debuffs ever placed on her. So you're fighting a RNG chance of possibly placing polymorph with the RNG chance of possibly getting a debuff placed on you. So my Mithrala is built to never take a debuff. She's not going to take a debuff very often, so polymorph is a dead blessing 9 times out of 10. Brimstone is another very popular one. This is extremely beneficial. 5-star Mithrala with Brimstone can't be removed. It's fantastic. If you're going to use Mithrala in Amius, if you use her in Hydra, this is an incredible blessing. But there's a few others that if you have those areas covered, you don't really need her in those areas. These blessings I would consider using in those spots. So the first one, be Intimidating Presence. It's probably the lowest of my opinions, but this is a potential beneficial one. It's going to be a little bit extra to add to your team. If you don't have somebody in this, it could be useful. But the more useful ones, in my opinion, are going to be Temporal Chains and Cruelty. Cruelty, because she has an A2 ability that's AoE, she can get 15% decreased defense on the bosses in Hydra, or say on Fire Knight, wherever she's doing, she can decrease the target's defense by 2% per hit up to 15%. This makes a pretty big damage difference in Hydra. So if you can do Cruelty, go ahead and throw Cruelty on her. I wouldn't do Lethal Dose, nothing like that personally. Ward of the Fallen is really not great until you get to 6-star anyways. So really just Temporal Change is what I would focus on, or Cruelty for PvE content. And then the War section, the Life Harvest is actually pretty good. If you don't have a champion with Life Harvest, it's something worth considering. But for me, I already had somebody with Life Harvest. I have Ancora, so I don't really need that, plus Duchess as well. Faultless Defense is actually very useful for Fire Knight, though Mithrala in Fire Knight has an issue of placing too many poisons. Doesn't allow Newt to place the freeze anymore, which it doesn't actually place, but it still needs a debuff slot so we can decrease the turn meter. So too many poisons could be bad, but Faultless Defense reflects the damage. Personally, I think it's a little bit wasted on the 5-star soul. 1 star is all you need, but it does help break some of the Fire Knight shield if you need that. And then I already mentioned Brimstone. Emergency Heal is one I tested out. Not a huge fan of it, so I'm not going to go for it. Maybe at 6-star, but at 6-star, I think the Temporal Chains is just better as well. So those are the few blessings I would recommend for her. Now let's jump over to the Masteries section. So for her Masteries, there's a few that I did not go that are incredible. Cycle of Magic. It's not very good against Amius. Don't want to bring it there. Lasting Gifts. I couldn't really get over here, so I didn't bring it. But the ones I did pick up, as I dodge these, anything that involves like removing a debuff from me is pretty irrelevant because Siphies can place irresistible debuffs, but outside of like a very few champions in the arena, I'm really not going to be debuffed on my Mithrala. So removing a debuff isn't very impactful for me, honestly. So I'm going things that can boost my healing, make me survive a little bit longer, take damage from the other champions and put it on my Mithrala because she is going to be in Stone Skin in the very beginning of the fight. So Selfless Defender I think is going to be very beneficial and very valuable on the defense side. On the support side, we have some turn meter boosting stuff. And then the Eagle Eye accuracy. I was kind of in the air about this because she's got a lot of accuracy, right? Like she's got a lot of resistance overall. She's not going to be debuffed very likely, and 50 accuracy probably won't make a difference. Consider going Oppressor, but her main role is just to resist the debuffs and then cleanse the champions. So going Oppressor wouldn't really make a huge difference. If you're using her in Hydra, 100% go War Master. If you're not focused on PvP, go War Master. Very simple, honestly. So now let's talk about where you could use her, and then I'll do some arena showcases where I actually will be using her. So Ice Golem's Peak, she's good here. She can be decent. The poisons don't do much, so it's just for survivability. Iron Twins, she's very good. I don't use a team with her, but I know she can definitely do very well in Iron Twins. Comes back to the whole speed tune thing, though, because you probably will need her to be a specific tune for Iron Twins, but she's a great champion there. Minnow, don't use her there. Spider's Den, I do use her in this team. It's a pretty simple team. Basically what she's bringing is the Hex on everybody, allowing Newt's A3, max HP, to actually spread the damage to the Hex, and then just killing the Spider, essentially. So she's very good in Spider. I use her in the same build in all these areas. Spider team does about 30-second runs. Pretty safe, very consistent. There we go. The Spider eats the little Spiderlings. Mithrala is going to come in and hopefully do her skill correctly here. She does her cleanse. She actually does not do what I was wanting her to do. We will get the reset here though, which is fine. I need to readjust this because my Siphi is actually supposed to be going at a little bit of a different order. I changed some of the speed, so it's not working perfectly, but you get the point. She places Hex. Newt does big damage, kills the little Spiderlings. It's all pretty simple stuff. For Dragon, she can actually solo it. She can actually solo some of these stages somewhat. At 5-star, I have no doubt whatsoever she can, but I don't really run Dragon at all. But the speed team that I do run is actually down here. It's been a long time since I ran Dragon, though, honestly. So this team, assuming Stoutus is geared, not even going to check it, because as long as Mithrala gets to the boss, we're going to be fine. Granted, she doesn't have regeneration anymore, so it may be a little bit more uncomfortable than previously, but she has block debuffs, plus Stone Skin, so we should be okay. Stoutus is really going to be the main star of the show, essentially. So Stoutus comes in. He doesn't have Stone Skin on, so he's not actually built for this. But Mithrala can basically handle this. Now, this run may not be successful. We're really not sure, honestly, because it's been a while since I ran it. But counterattacks, A1 abilities placing the poison is really what you're relying on here for Mithrala to do to actually get this working, making it smooth. Now, this one's going to fail because Stoutus is not set up correctly to actually do this. And Mithrala will probably die here in just a moment. Yeah. So we got some more poison up there. It failed, but you can build a Mithrala to actually do this. I don't care about Dragon enough to do that. I actually use Nishak and Tio to do this, but I got some videos on the channel of Mithrala plus some other champions, I think, duoing Dragon 10 hard. This works if Stoutus is built, but he's pretty naked, so not a great showcase for Stoutus. But Mithrala can definitely do it without a doubt. For Fire Knight, you can run a team where Faultless Defense, she places increased defense, Faultless Defense, reflects some of the shield hits back, and then you do some damage to the Fire Knight. Be careful, though, because freezes can get messed up in this run. Sand Devil, I don't really see any teams being used with her there. And then Shogun, she is a help there. She can definitely be used, especially with a 5-star Brimstone. Now, for Hydra, she is incredible here. When you get her, when you unlock her, you 100% will be using her for Hydra for a while. Now, she will fall off eventually. I don't use her in any teams, but she is incredible. She brings some of the most important Hydra buffs and debuffs. So with her kit, she brings increased attack and increased defense. So few champions actually bring these two buffs consistently that actually makes sense in the team that Mithrala just instantly becomes incredible just from that. But that same ability brings Hex AoE, which is very much needed for Hydra, but she's also bringing a cleanse, plus a strengthen, plus a shield. So she's amazing, plus an extra 80 accuracy in all battles. So she brings so much good stuff that if you need some Hydra teams, she 100% can fit into it. But I recommend using War Master, especially if you're using some champions with Leech. Speaking of, we do have Harvest to spare, so we will get some leeches placed in like PvP content and wave-based content every now and then based on her petrification. So Hydra 100% can be used. She brings so many answers to so many things in Hydra, but this is not the area that I'm going to be focused on. The areas I'm going to be focused on is actually PvP content. I will be doing some live arena content with her soon. I've been waiting to get her. I'm dropping down in ranks, unfortunately, but I will be doing some content with her. 1,400. I thought I was like way lower than that. I thought it was like 3,000. I'm surprised it says 1,400. I guess a lot of other players have decayed. Is that really right? 1,400? Huh. Either way, well, when it comes to PvP, Mithrala is going to allow for some answers against Armons, because now Armons cannot decrease her turn meter. He's just not going to have the accuracy to do that. He can't decrease her turn meter. Can't do nothing because she's in Stone Skin plus block debuffs. But Rhonda, she gets her turn meter decreased, and she also gets obliterated by the Georgid, but that's to be expected, right? But now we just place the Hex. Nothing's going to happen. Petrification. Like, she's not going to take any debuffs from anybody. I can buff up. Everything's fine. Tormund's not going to debuff me. Unless it's a 3% chance, not going to get debuffed. Everything is going to be A-okay. But the Rhonda being dead is not necessarily the best situation. So let's try this one more time. Let's try UDK in this spot. So UDK in here. UDK may die. Probably won't, though, to be honest. But with Rhonda in the team, her A3 ability prevents her from having her turn meter decreased while it's off cooldown. So we'll just cleanse while it's on cooldown. And then we'll just use the A3 and kill everybody. Because Mithrala will also be given the increased attack very soon. She didn't just now, but she will be given the increased attack very, very soon, and making Rhonda hit even harder. There we go. Increased attack coming up. Easy. Easy, easy stuff. If we can ever hit their Armons, he'll be dead. He'll be gone. No problem. Maybe we can. Okay. Can't sheep Mithrala. Can keep trying. Can try as much as this AI wants to try, but it's not going to do it. Okay. So we'll block the passives. Boom. And then dead. So he will stun the Rhonda this time and decrease the turn meter, all that kind of stuff. But Mithrala's just going to cleanse it because she's not getting any turn meter decrease. She's not getting any debuffs placed. Nothing's happening because she has such high resistance. She's in Stone Skin plus block debuffs. Makes it very easy. I'm going to back out of this fight, though. Don't got enough damage to really finish it off very easily. I wish I could find somebody with a Gizmak or a Astrolith even. But there's just nobody with Gizmak. I mean, nobody with them on their defense. But even like teams like this where we have a Yumiko, like, I don't care because we're just going to resist the cooldown increase anyways, right? Nobody with Gizmak. Let's see if we got anything in 3v3. No Gizmaks. Warlord's fine. Like, we're going to resist that. Hegemon's fine as well. Like, even this Rhonda team at the top. I'm not going to do that. I can't sacrifice all this stuff just for Rhonda. But Rhonda, she doesn't need accuracy. Her A2 ability can't be resisted. But I can throw in my Mithrala, and since she has Stone Skin on, it's going to be fine. But typically, if she didn't have Stone Skin or block buffs, my Mithrala could take a turn, Rhonda could use her A2, and then I wouldn't be able to stop the unresistible debuff from being placed, and then my resistance would go from 1,200 to 600, basically. So nothing happens because we have the block debuffs. Now we cleanse. Of course, we're going to get messed up because they got a lot of damage. I got nothing. I just got Mithrala. But she does have her resistance. She has all that stuff still stacked up on her. She's okay. She has a lot of defense. Like, she's a tanky champion. Very tanky. But now all I have to do is just throw in a single champion and everything will be okay. So the areas that Mithrala is beneficial for are plentiful. A lot of areas she's very, very effective in. But it depends on where you want to use her specifically on how you're actually going to build her. This Mithrala build for me, I think is going to do excellent in Live Arena. I really can't wait to use it. I'm very excited to use it, actually, especially against those annoying bomb teams. But I will be using her there. She's going to be speed tuned with my damage dealers. I think I'm going to rebuild my Rotos to actually get him into a merciless build. He's currently ignoring, what, 20 or 30% of enemies' defense? But if I put him into this merciless build, he's going to lose a little bit of speed. I can glyph a little bit up, but he's going to be better speed tuned with Mithrala. Loses a little bit of HP. But now, once I get the actual accessories as well. So now, he'd actually be better with her. She can cleanse anything off of him. Granted, he will boost his turn meter if they do too much damage anyways, so something to be mindful of there. So he may not always get his turn meter. He may not always get cleansed correctly, but I may end up taking that approach and then start slowing my champions down a little bit while also boosting Mithrala's speed slightly if I can. But the way she's built, I really like this setup. Honestly, if I could get a feral piece that had speed on it, that would make her 300 plus speed, no problem. But unfortunately, I don't got anything in feral like that. So no options there. But as we win some clan sieges, as we do more clan sieges, I'll get more and more feral stuff so she can get a better and better build. But I honestly think this build is going to last a long time. A chest plate that's accuracy with some speed rolls would be better as well. Like there's so many easy upgrades for this Mithrala. It's just going to take some time to actually get them to slot in here essentially. Guys, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you in the next one.